So here I wanted to make something short about if you're reading your logs, how to maybe like spot yours or your friends' mistake that they're doing as an Arcane Mage. There's not much you can actually read from logs, in my opinion. And while there might be, it's just a pain in the ass to fucking read. So I usually just, whenever someone approaches me for coaching, I just, tell him, please, bro, get a video because at early CBA, like, you're gonna get more information out of it anyway, out of a video rather than a log, because the log is a little bit limited, in my opinion. But just like a few things that I always check whenever someone sends me a log and like, yo, bro, why is my damage so low? But these are not like very crucial mistakes, because the crucial mistakes that like people do, which leads to DPS loss, is just movement. Yeah, people just don't know how to deal with movement. But you can read that from the logs, but more importantly, you can actually read other stuff from the logs. Yeah, so I have these two examples. Both people told me I can use them as like a lab rats. To kind of that's the first mistake here. We're gonna talk about it to kind of review, yeah. So first of all, what I do is I check the people's talents. Yeah, so I just go to the fucking talent sheet here. I check, okay, well, this motherfucker, yeah, like, is on Lumitar, so why is he using resonance? Right? If I'm not mistaken, the resonance doesn't really fucking work there to have any value. Like, you can maybe barrage cleave like the webs a few times, or like the boss a few times while you're targeting the web, but I don't think it holds value over energized familiar. So in this case, first thing I would say, check your talents. Always make sure that you just follow whatever the most of the people do, or like the top ones, yeah. And also think about it a little bit yourself. Like, no one runs Lumitar Resonance, like 8%. None of the top ones, as far as I can see, everyone is just running Energized Familiar for like one dude. You have to think for yourself, like, how often does the barrage hit the fucking resonance? Like, how often does it benefit from resonance anyway? Not really often, yeah. So because of that, I just think you should go. This guy should go Energized Familiar, yeah. Then I just go to the gear just to check everything is in order. So I just check all the gems, that he has all the color gems. I check if he has the mana inch on this Arcane Mage, which is a little bit of a DPS increase. It's not that major, but it's for free since this is like 900 stamina. If you look at the total stamina, fucking 750k, I think losing not even 1k is just whatever. Just run the mana one for a little bit more of damage. And then I check enchant, Storm Rider's Fury. As long as you have the secondary enchant, it should be fine. The secondary stat enchant, it should be fine. And then I flame his trinket, for example, where like, okay, you can't do much about it, but like, I think the Soulbinder trinket is a little bit fucking shit. But again, always sim gear. Yeah, like, I'm not going to be like, okay, bro, this trinket is shit, or like this ring is shit, whatever. Always sim. Check what's the best one. Yeah, but from my knowledge, since I had this trinket on Mythic and I tried to make it work, I think it's absolute ass. But again, same. Second thing that I check, is Siphon Storm. So I just go to buffs. Yeah, these are the most common mistakes that people do when I coach them. So I'm not gonna name everything that there is, just like the most common pitfalls that people do. And the Siphon Storm usage is usually one of them. Yeah, so I just go here, and as we can see, the first one, ignore, but the second one, okay, so it should always have 7 stacks when you mouse over this bullshit. And as you can see, it only has 6 stacks here. So that means he clipped one of the stacks from the evocation, and then he died at the end of the fight, I think. This might be a death, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he died, but still, that Siphon Storm, so just Control F Siphon Storm, that one clip is present here. And I've noticed more and more that I coach people and log review their logs. Everyone nearly does this because people just get impatient. They want to queue up the spell that they want, like missiles or blast or barrage, but you simply cannot do that because you need to fully channel it to get the maximum intellect value out of the evocation. Yeah, so he's just losing on 2% intellect here. So if we move on to the other guy, which I actually wanted to check. Magi Spark, that's a little bit, this log is what, like a week old? 9 days old? Magi Spark? No one runs that anymore. As far as I'm concerned, I'm just going to check that I'm not smoking. No, that's a completely useless talent. So, my man, you should go instead of Magi Spark or Arcane Echo, you should go into D-Bill and Time Loop. Always make sure you're up to date with the most recent and the most, damaging talents. No one runs Magi Spark anymore. Yeah, and then I can check. Okay, again, gear. So I do see he has the. Going to check roll this guy. Yeah, Crystal Radiance is there. He does have the mana enchant, but he does have Oathsworth Tenacity. He has pretty good trinkets. The only puzzling part here is that he doesn't have all the gem colors. He only has Verse and Haste, which is obviously not going to be that much of a DPS increase if you slam the Mastery and crit, but should be for free. And then stat-wise, like people always ask me, like, oh, how much of Haste or Verse should I have? Like, just sim it, bro. Always sim it. Yeah, I'm not really going to say, yeah, you should have this amount of Haste Verse or whatever. Very specific from character to character, but just sim it. Yeah, I also think, just looking at it here, playing Ring of Frost is a little bit of a waste, yeah, like when it comes to this, but yeah, when it comes to raid encounter. All right, then I wanted to check his Siphon Storm usage, yeah, so I just go here, buffs, Siphon Storm, and we can see that he clips it even more. Yeah, so he clips basically every single. My guy over here clips every single Siphon Storm evocation. So he's losing, well, except for the second one, maybe the first one. But he's basically losing 2% intellect from the later ones. Yeah, which is not something that you want to do. Yeah. Then I just check, if you're using... excuse me. If you're using all the, flask and whatever, which is fine, he is. And then I move on to the fun part, which are the casts. Yeah, so I just go here. Yeah, and I check, first of all, what I check for here is gaps. And the first thing that I see is gaps here. Yeah, they might not actually seem evident for you guys, as they are for me. But I can see already, like you can usually mouse over this bullshit and see, okay, well, he finished casting Arcane Surge 2.685, and then touches 2.831 milliseconds, yeah? So just like mouse over these things, and then check, okay, like, so there's a gap between this, which is a gap, and as far as I know, the surge will not hit within the touch if you have a slight delay even like this. So that's a small mistake that you're doing. Then if we check the gaps, like I can just check between blast and missiles, yeah, there's like a 0.1 second gap, yeah, and then it's just like drags on these missiles again, 0. Basically 2 second gap, then between blast and barrage is like 0.2 seconds gap again. Here another. And the point of this is that it just stacks throughout the fight, right? Like these little gaps, they might not look like they do much. So check that from the logs. Like make sure that the log, like if we just review someone top guy, like I don't know, like we just go over this dude, he's not gonna have that many gaps. Like obviously it can happen every now and then, but you can see how neatly stacked the casts are. You can see that the surge and the touch just happens like instantly within 0.01 millisecond, yeah. Like the blast into missiles just happens almost instantly, yeah. There's like minimal gap, like it's just the queuing gap really. If there is even any gap, there is not really any gap. It just shows that the log, it's like delayed by a slight splitty second, but you can see that they're not as major, yeah, as even if the difference is showing that there is any different like gap, it's not as major, yeah, as the other as from this dude, yeah. Also another thing, another like greedy fucking pick thing. I will not fucking press the defensive like this during my Arcane Soul, I can tell you that, yeah. Like if we just check your Arcane Soul uptime, yeah, just to check when exactly it expires, the first one. Yeah, the first one basically expires at 0.27 seconds. And you opted to press a prismatic barrier at the end of the Arcane Soul when you're doing the most amount of damage, because the barrage is the most amped there. Even if you did it at the beginning, it would be the hurtful all the same. But my point is really like, once you're in the surge, like try not to press that many globals on defensives. Yeah, especially like I don't think you would really need to press it on Plexus. Yeah, like during Arcane Surge and during Arcane Soul, that's when you're doing the most amount of damage. So try to not press something that is not a damaging spell in your GCD. Yeah, like just unless it's like literally the question of life and death. But I would be a fucking greedy pig on a Plexus Sentinel, and I will not press it. Yeah. Second, site specific thing. A lot of people do this that I coach. They always use the cloak on Plexus. Just blink it. You're gonna save yourself a global. You can control the blink better, and pretty much that. Yeah. So just always blink it. Yeah, if possible. Additionally, yeah, this seems fine. You're not clipping shifting. Yeah, and then I just look for some gaps that there might be in the casts. Like, you know, I see that you're moving here a lot, but that's the thing. Like, this is usually what you need to vote for to be able to read this. Like, maybe what you could have done better. But obviously, not casting anything is always going to fucking lose you a lot of damage. Yeah, like if I just look at this and it's like, just, you know, massive gap. Yeah, then not much you can do about your damage. I would highly recommend during the intermission, blink twice, alter blink again, use the greater in this talent, which gives you the movement speed. Just like some fight specific tip that you can get here as well. Yeah. And then like another mistake here, yeah, which a lot of people do that I coach as well. They always press evocation a bit too early. Yeah, maybe because it's the first thing that's ready, and like Surge is still on cooldown because they fucked up, they desync the cooldowns or whatever. But usually what happens is that they press the Evo, and then they have something like some mechanic or something else to do. Yeah, they're like, okay, I got a mechanic, I need to move it here with this. But you cannot do that. Yeah, as soon as you press the Evo, you have to go to the Surge. Yeah, you should be going into the Surge with the missiles. Yeah. Because as you can see here, you press Evo 1.19, yeah, you get this, the Siphon Storm stacks up at like what, like 1.21, and then it takes you like 5 seconds to press a Surge. Yeah, obviously you pressed missiles here, so that's another like 1 second or something. Yeah, but that was definitely like minimum of 3 seconds downtime of like doing nothing because you pressed the cloak as well. So again, a small mistake. Yeah. Also, small nitpick. Yeah, I can see here, you do not, a lot of people do this as well, believe me or not. People like to press missiles right after Surge, even if they have nether precision. People just forget that they pressed missiles before the Surge, and they still have 2 nether precisions here. Yeah, they have 2 nether precision here. So there is absolutely zero reason to press missiles here again. Yeah, because you just waste one, because the Surge doesn't consume nether precision. The barrage does, so this one barrage does. Again, there's a small gap, yeah, of like 0.4 seconds. And then, yeah, barrage into touch, sure, you can do that. And then the missiles, which overlap the one nether precision, which is a mistake. And then you just go over, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, Arcane Soul seems to be fine. And you're clipping shifting power as well. So be careful with that as well, because you're losing on free cooldown reduction. Because the way that it should look on locks is that there should be 4 ticks of this little icon. And if there's not, you're clipping. Yeah, so you're clipping shifting power and you're clipping evocation. So don't be too hasty on pressing abilities when you're channeling spells like evocation and the shifting power. Yeah, but you know, I don't know what this is, but we have an evocation into missile into like double barrages. You know, I would like to believe you that you got a glorious incandescence and intuition at the same time here, but I kind of don't. Yeah, so. And I'm not going to check, but still, even if that was the case, again, a massive gap between evocation and surge, because the previous time you did it desynced. Yeah, so again, you need to make sure that you sync them all up if you desync them. Yeah, you would just press evocation when you have a surge ready within the next 2 seconds, and same with touch. So basically that's for you, yeah, like small mistakes that you should be focusing on. What you can find in logs. Yeah, obviously, like I said, video reviews are, again, clip shifting here. Yeah, and I think the gaps are actually the biggest issue here. But like I said, the video reviews are, again, superior to the log reviews. Yeah, but this is at least what I always look first things first, what I look for when I'm reviewing a log. Yeah, another thing that you can look at is Arcane Tempo. So you can just okay do Control F, and you can do Arcane Tempo. Yeah, and if there's a lot of drops, which there are, that means you're doing something wrong as well. Yeah, I don't think you necessarily have to have 100% uptime on a fight like Plexus Sentinel, which knocks you back. You have some downtime, okay, but you should be striving. You can actually upkeep it if you target the ads, but you should be striving to have near maximum uptime 5 stacks of the Arcane Tempo, because once you drop it, you have to fucking rebuild again. Yeah, Socratic out of and some very, yeah, like if you drop it once, I think it can happen in the intermission, or if you just brain fart, but it should be near 100% uptime. Yeah, there is zero reason not to. It takes nearly the utmost priority in the rotation, yeah, to upkeep it. So I know it feels bad to drop the arcane charges sometimes, but it is what it is. Yeah, so you have to kind of bite the bullet and upkeep it as much as possible and track it. Yeah, fuck is this, bro? Yeah, it's some coaching Kratic. So that's with that. Yeah. Then we move on to the other guy that we had here. Yeah, and we do the same thing. So talent wise, like I said, I already flamed him. A little bit of the gear. They all consented to this, so you guys don't have to be worried that they didn't. Again, there's a gap between the surge and touch. Yeah, there seems to be some gap in the Arcane Soul here, unnatural. But seems to me this is a little bit better. Yeah, I can't check the barrages. Well, I can't be fucked to check if the barrages are like done under the tempo, intuition, or glorious incandescent condition with missile. That's what the video is always better for. But yeah, I cannot. What the fuck? Wait, that's another. Yeah, like this is not something that people do a lot. But if you had Arcane Soul here, and you opted to choose press Arcane Blast there, that's a yikes right here. Let's see. So again, I just do see Arcana Soul. Yeah, you pressed Arcane Blast. When you had Arcane Soul available, not really ideal. Yeah. So watch out for that. But just again, seems downtime, clipping, shifting. You basically forgot to shifting right after Arcane Soul. Common mistake that a lot of people do that I'll mention about Arcane Soul. Sorry, shifting power. People just forget to shifting power completely sometimes after Arcane Soul. So if you do forget, you fuck up. Do not press it too late. Too late being like your touch is coming within like 10 seconds or 5 or whatever. Because then you're just gonna desync the cooldowns again if you press the touch, yeah? So what I prefer to do if I completely forget, brain fart, fuck up or whatever, I just don't press the shifting power at all. I don't press the shifting power at all. I do my mini burn. And then after the mini burn, I press, after the mini burn, I press, after it explodes actually, you would press the shifting power, yeah? So that's that. Then you just go yeah, but those are the most common mistakes that you can check, yeah, when it comes to the locks. Yeah, obviously like stuff like movement, that's like I said better for video, so I can see exactly what the person is doing, what the person that I'm coaching is doing or just helping out is doing. But these are like the basic things that you can read out from logs and the rest from what. So if you have something else actually, guys, in the comments that you can check from logs quite easily, which is not like super obvious, then let me know. But this is usually what I do, and then I just resort to the videos. Yeah. Another thing that I wanted to mention here, since I noticed it, your surge here. Look at this. Yeah, you do surge here. Well, you died, no, at some point, didn't you? Or was that another fight? Let's see. He died 537. Yeah, but not sure. But this could be the side of like, you know, this could be happening also. This like little late surge because you're delaying your previous cooldown. So I always say, pop the fucking cooldowns on cooldowns. Don't hold them for extended periods of time, because if you hold them for too long, that could mean that you get less uptime on your last surge or like or like surge, unless you're trying to like get the surge in execute because the target is like a % or 2 off, then you'd probably go for something like that. But besides that, just rip on CD. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. Let me know if you enjoyed this this little new format. You know, I'm pretty sure there's like a few things that you could check when it comes to the logs, but these are just like the few things that came off my mind that you can check when you're doing a little bit of a log review. When you're doing a little bit of a log review, but yeah. So thank you very much, guys, for watching. And see you in the next one.